welcome to the Tom Henry Show, the show that's sweeping the nation and the world. We've had a lot of wonderful reviews. People are freaking out. We heard from Jay Leno. He'd like the 10 o'clock spot before the show, he says. He's trying to get in here. We haven't heard yet from Armie Hammer, unfortunately. It might be because I was trying to talk to him about acting and not the new mumbo jumbo, but so far we haven't heard from him, but we're waiting on you, Armie. We're waiting on you. So, as you know, I do a few monologue jokes off the top. Not news, not the news, just things that have been going on in my life or things I've been noticing. And I've noticed lately, a lot of people trying to sell me things and sell us all things. And I don't like it so much, And I heard somebody recently say that they used to think that sex sells, but now they know that rage sells. And so I'm gonna get you all a little enraged with these monologue jokes about all these people trying to sell us things. How about this Judd Apatow guy? You know this guy? I saw on an Instagram ad recently an ad for Judd Apatow's masterclass, and it said, "Learn how to write a hilarious screenplay." It's interesting because I can think of somebody who could really use that class. Judd Apatow. Thank you. How about this Pete Holmes guy, too? You know this guy? He's a comedian. He's been doing ads. He's been hawking a magical mushroom potion for brain focus. That's true. That sounds made up. That's true. Pete, take more. Pete, take it until you don't feel like making ads for a magic mushroom brain potion. How about that? You in the background can laugh out loud if you like. How about this Duolingo? So I've been doing this Duolingo Spanish for 560 days. And every single day they're trying to sell me something. They're trying to sell me the premium membership. I've been taking this 560 days, a streak, and I can't speak a word of damn Spanish. I've been taking this 560 days. Yo no hablo español. Yo no tengo una casa grande. Y yo no muy bonito. Yo es muy triste. This is the monologue part off the top. How about this George Clooney guy? He's been trying to sell me his tequila. He's made this tequila. Apparently, he's made him a billionaire. Now, this doesn't sit right to me, Not only do I have to sit through the movie Wolves, now you're trying to poison my liver? Now, this all leads me to a longer rant. I'm calling this a rant. We're calling this the Henry Rant. Well, I bought one of these air purifiers recently, and I wanted my air to be as clean as possible. And I had noticed some dust. You see dust around, you want to do something about it. So I buy this air purifier. It's on sale, $175. Wow, thanks. It shows up, and I look at the thing. I open it up. It looks sort of like a trash can with a fan at the top of it. Well, I look into the technology. That's essentially what it is. It's a sort of an empty trash can with a fan on the top of it. That's supposed to clean your air. But, so, you know what else it has? It has a light on it that tells you how good your air is. So, blue means good. Red means bad. Green means pretty good. And there might be a yellow in there. So I plug the thing in, Now, I think I have a pretty dusty place. Things just give me a blue light all over the place. I go, well, you just put yourself out of a job. You're already telling me I got blue. What do I need you for? Then I'm cooking one day. Okay, I have a gas stove. It goes to red. I go, finally, this thing's going to do some work. Well, it revs up its little fan. And, about 10 minutes later, it's blue. But I thought to myself, well, I've cooked before many times, mostly every day. And turns out the air is usually blue. So what do I need this thing to tell me it's red for 10 minutes and then go blue? So I'm going to return the air purifier. I kept the box. Best Buy Canada, be ready for a return. I've got a terrific guest for you tonight. He's a good friend of mine, and we'll introduce him in about 5 seconds. My first guest is an absolutely enchanting Irishman and phenomenal actor. He starred in the show The Umbrella Academy, of which I have a fascinating 2-episode arc as motel clerk in season 1. He's also been in The Misfits and Love Hate. He also happens to have written 2 books. This is one of them. Disappearing Act. I don't have the newer one, but he wrote that one too. Welcome to the show, Robert Sheehan.
Hey! Woo! It's me, Robert Sheehan. Tom, these chairs are sturdy and fashionable. Where'd you get them?
Thank you. I got them on Facebook Marketplace. $14 each.
That's decent. That's a bargain.
Yeah, I'll say.
Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg.
So what else do you want to talk about?
Well, we've covered the chairs now. I mean, I'm out of ideas.
I'm only joking. I have a lot of things I'd like to talk to you about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So you and I are friends, would you say?
I suppose it's official at this stage.
Yeah, it's been a while. I wanted to say that at first, when I became friends with you, I knew you were a bit of a famous guy.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
You know,
by the time we came
know.
around on a big show in Canada.
Well, I met you on the set of Umbrella Academy. And you were one of the stars, and I was somewhat less of a star.
They put you in a different motel room, didn't they, Tom?
No, we were in the same motel room, I think.
That's a disgrace.
Mary J. Blige was there.
Mary J. Blige was there, yeah.
And she walked into the motel room and walked out of it instantly.
I don't blame her, Tom, because I'll tell you why. Because the motel we were filming in was a terrible crack den in a shithole where I think prostitutes rent the rooms by the hour. Yeah. And that's not a joke. It was actually near the studio.
And that was just Netflix.
Yeah.
But also real prostitutes rented out too.
Yeah. Yeah, other prostitutes, other than ourselves.
So we were there in this, probably getting bed bugs in this motel room.
We were in bed at the time.
They thought that they would also put Mary J. Blige in there.
Yeah. But she had a gigantic SUV ticking over outside the car park.
She said, you know what? I think I'll sit in the SUV.
Yeah. It's got a jacuzzi.
Anyhow, that's when we met. I don't actually think you remembered that. I did. But then you later...
I remember you from watching the show and going, that fucker's good. Honestly, I'm not just saying this because I was talking
Motel clerk.
Motel clerk.
Motel
he had a certain
clerk.
darkness about him.
I had to be really
reflected his environment.
sassy. I had to be really sassy to Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Which a lot of actors probably couldn't handle.
Motel clerk struck me as a kind of QAnon-centric guy who spends a lot of time by himself. You know, believes a lot of what he reads on the internet and then exudes that through his aura.
That was the story about him. And he wore a fishing vest, which coincidentally, many roles I've booked also wore fishing vests.
Wait a minute. do you mean fishing vest? Like a sort of a waistcoat with hooks in it?
It's a vest.
Yeah,
It's not
but
a waistcoat.
In my world, a vest is like a singlet or a wife beater.
Well, in your world, yeah.
In the bars I hang out in, ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
usually they're fishnet.
you're from Ireland.
Yeah. Just, I mean, do you know what, right?
Yeah.
Dublin, interesting bit of trivia.
You have to talk to me, not everybody in the room.
I do that on talk shows. Do you know what I mean? I go, I'm sick of you. There's more people over there.
Yeah.
Bit of trivia. There's more gay bars per capita in Dublin City than loads of other places. So that's a fact.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what's going on with the Irish?
I don't know. We're all gaying it up and dragging it up as well. There's a big drag scene. They're always trying to lure me in and put a frock on me.
I've seen you in a frock.
See?
Yeah.
Doesn't take much.
Anyway, what was I
Doesn't
trying to say?
take
So
much.
we're on the set. Oh yeah, this is where I was going.
Oh, yeah?
So then you come to one of my comedy shows,
Yes.
and you
Was
have
that was by accident, wasn't it?
by accident, and you have no choice but to become friends with me because of my staggering comedic talents.
Yeah, the timing helped. And then afterwards, you quite braggadocious.
What do you mean by that?
You quite sort of braggadociously swaggered up to me at the bar afterwards, and you were like, "We should be pals."
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm getting at is that I thought maybe it would be fun to have a sort of a famous friend. I also liked you.
Oh, see, that's just
It's sleazy,
hurtful.
right? But since I've been friends with you, I've realized that being friends with a famous person actually is the least fun part of it.
Go on.
Well, so you think, oh, I'm going to be out on the town with this guy. Everybody's excited about
Sort of
him.
entourage.
And they'll see that I'm also with him.
Right.
But instead, they actually just basically stand in the middle of the two of you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they think, well, this guy has normal friends. I'll be the normal friend.
Look at this normie he stood beside.
Yeah. Why would I let this guy be the normal friend?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And then what I noticed is
They don't take enough of an interest in you.
they take no interest. In fact, they show hatred towards me,
Yeah, contempt.
contempt. And then what I've noticed,
Good.
and then what I've noticed from looking at TikTok and whatnot. Say you see George Clooney walking along the street. He was in my monologue.
That has never happened to
No,
me.
from the paparazzi.
Oh, yeah, like on video.
And then you see a buddy of his walking next to him.
Right.
You don't think that guy's cool.
You never even see the body.
Well, I noticed the buddy because I've been him.
You've been him.
But even as him, I don't look at him and go, wow, how do you become friends with George Clooney?
How do you become that guy?
And so what I'm trying to say is...
exactly. It's shooting low.
It's actually quite a nice thing that I've stayed friends with you because I find
Yeah.
it a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, this is true. I'm sure it's been a trial.
It's been a real trial.
It's been several years now.
And I've taken a number of photos for people who want
Really?
to pose with you.
I
Yeah.
tend to blank that stuff out. It sort of happens and then it just goes... There's a Scottish wind that blows through my brain and then it's gone 3 seconds later.
Let's not get into your sort of poetry.
Scottish
but
wind.
you tend to be a bit trepidatious about photo seekers. I don't know if you want that out
Yeah,
there.
well, it depends on my
But
mood.
it can be a bit rude.
Yeah.
And I often encourage you to do it because I want you to have a bad time.
Do you know what it is? It's when
Yes.
now to take heed, folks, if you feel the need to come up and immortalize yourself with me. It's that don't come straight up and stick in the turkey. Do you know what I'm saying? You
With the phone.
Yeah, you got to preheat the oven.
You know what
You got to say hello.
Yeah.
How are you, fellow human? But you know, the other side of it is that sometimes people don't want to bother you for very long.
Yeah.
So they think the human thing to do is come up and go, quickly, just take the photo.
Let's get it over with.
Yeah, so I can go away and we can get over this unpleasant moment. And you go, no. We're going to prolong your unpleasantness
Yeah.
in order to earn the photograph.
Exactly. You want a photo with me? You have to suffer through my company.
company. You need to withstand at least 3 or 4 questions and maybe a few insults.
You have to hear
from
about
me.
my Scottish wind poem I just came up with.
Yeah,
So-
some poetry I've been working on.
I've also noticed that a lot of sort of 40 to 50-year-old men will approach you and say what a fan their daughter is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't experience any of this yourself. It's just all through my eyes.
I do experience it, but to
Yeah.
be honest, it's been happening for the last 15 years of my life.
Yeah.
So I don't see the ratios in the pie chart anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, what? Oh yeah. But I do end up having chats with people.
You do.
And they're the more memorable things.
You're a nice man.
I'm a bit needy as well.
As any actor is.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I think everybody should check out episode 2 and 5 of Umbrella Academy season 1.
Yeah, but start at episode 1.
Just check
and then
2 and 5.
For the flow.
Just watch 2 and 5.
Watching episode after episode.
Motel.
And then,
Clerk.
after episode 5, things hot up.
The show really took a
season.
dive, in my opinion, after episode 5 of season
the
1.
Klaus storyline really kicks in like episode
Which one's
6,
Klaus?
7. He's the sexiest one who can dance between the living and the realms of the living and the dead.
Does he happen to work at his own motel?
Hang on a minute. Nowhere in the storyline does it say that the motel clerk owns the motel. We had Mary J. Blige staying here. Did you know? We put that on the wall.
I think
He
he owned
several
it. Yeah.
gunshots while we were there.
I think he owned it.
Boasting about that.
I think he owned it.
Oh dear. But what are we going on about? Oh yeah, men coming up and saying things about their daughters. But you know what I think sometimes, Tom?
What?
Is that they're lying. And actually
Yeah.
they are a fan.
That's what I was getting at.
And they're just saying that to sort of bridge their own excuse me, beer burp, self-conscious gap.
That's what I was getting at.
But it is a very good one.
We recently encountered one. You and I were in London, England, together.
Yes, we were.
We were in a pub,
Yeah, many.
and there was a guy who gave you his business card, and he said, "I'm from." He said, "I'm from He said, "I'm from Harvard" or something like that. And he said,
yeah.
And he said, I remember him. He goes, "I'm the head of such and
Yale.
such science department at Yale." Yeah. The Yaleys are going to be furious that
Go
I
on.
confused it with Harvard.
Nail the Yale
We
crowd.
just lost half our audience. So he goes, "I'm head of such and such science at Yale." And he gave you his card.
Yeah, he did.
And I thought,
And he goes, "Oh, if you're ever dropping by
if you're
some
ever
small,
in
tiny
New Haven,
town,
Connecticut, and you want to know about
yeah,
macrobiology,
yeah." I go, I don't need our relationship to continue after
Yeah.
this point, but I do want to know what you do. That is the interesting thing about getting recognized, is that you get to find out about other people's lives in a fairly inconsequential way. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to book dinner or anything.
you can forget it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it can
can
go
kind
into the subconscious where it belongs.
You feign a man of the people persona quickly,
I don't care about
and
any
you
of it.
instantly forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
What else did I want to ask you about?
What was an interesting fame thing? I was in New York a while back,
Yeah.
and this young fellow, was a German fellow, he was wearing a kind of a red sport coat,
Yeah.
and he came up to myself and my friend, and he goes, "Oh my God, you are the Klaus from the Umbrella Academy?" And I went, yeah. And he went, "Oh, I just got this done." And he pulled up the back of his sport coat up to his shoulders, and he had my entire face on his naked back done,
really did?
done tattoo.
Did you take a picture
Yes, I did, yeah.
with it?
With it, yeah. But it was on his phone, No, do you know what it was? Sorry. I'm mixing up details. It was not my face.
It was Johnny Depp.
It was Sean Depp, who's a real up-and-coming Irish actor. No, it was a Vietnamese tattoo that
Oh.
Klaus had on his belly,
So it wasn't your
which
face.
happens episode 6 and 7, where it really heats up.
It's really
At
not.
Prey
You
Motel
don't need to see
Clerk,
6
right?
and 7 at all.
And it was sort of a Vietnamese triangle of different, symbolic concepts or whatever.
The story changed quite a bit since it was your face.
Yeah. I mean, it was
That would have been a
basically
real
my
life
face.
event if it was your
basically
face.
my performance
Right.
on his back.
That tattoo was your performance.
Yeah, it was the symbol of my performance.
Interesting.
Or else just he was a fan of Vietnam. But he got the idea from Klaus's belly, and it was his whole back. Do you know what I mean? And I said, you should not have done that.
Did he
you
cry?
young fool. No, he was delighted with himself.
He was still okay with it, even though the character told him he shouldn't have
I
done it.
disapproved of it. Yeah.
Well, something else I wanted to talk to you about. On the same vein, it can be quite annoying how good looking you are and your bone structure.
One time, right, we were
Yeah.
at dinner in London.
You and I?
we were with
Okay.
and we were with a load of friends who you just met.
Just
in
met.
fairness, and you said, oh, I saw Robert with no shirt on the other day. It really annoys me. It really annoys me
Yeah.
that he has no body fat.
That's how I bonded with those friends. Because they're annoyed as well. Because
That's
we
not
were
fair.
talking about how much you eat.
Yeah, I do. I eat a lot.
That you
yeah.
eat so much.
Yeah.
Piggishly.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, that seems a bit of an exaggeration.
Kind of a
really.
classic piggish eater. But we were talking about how you put on no weight.
Yeah, this is true.
And we were living together for a
we
brief
were
period of time in
as
London.
we were writing something.
As we were writing something, which check in. If you're a studio, check in with us.
Don't check in with. We'll check in with you, all right? Because
Power move.
no, I don't mean that
Oh.
in a power move. I mean, let's talk when it's finished.
It's almost done.
It's almost. It's not almost done. We'll see.
Well, anyway, it's really good. But anyway, so you know will walk around without a shirt.
I don't walk around without a shirt. We were indoors. It was October.
Yeah, inside.
Remember? Yeah.
But I don't
inside.
walk. I don't do that unless I'm completely alone.
Why? Oh, but it depends
Because
who
I
I'm
don't.
with.
Because
It's
I
not
don't like how it looks. And you know
Oh,
what?
right. Yeah.
Little glance into my personal life. I've been going to Pilates for 5 straight months.
Yeah.
I don't look a shred better.
How is that possible?
4 to 5 times a week, I go.
week?
Yeah. And you eat like a fat pig, and you look like Adonis.
I put this. Fair enough. I'll take that to the bank.
Sort of a skinny kind of Adonis.
a skinny-ish Adonis.
Skinny-ish Adonis.
Do you know? I put it down. Maybe Tom. Now you
Yes.
played sports as a kid, did you?
Somewhat.
Somewhat, because my parents sent me out to this, that, and the other. Kept me 3, 4, 5 nights a week, basically out of the house. Essentially paying to to have their kids somewhere else for several evenings a
Yeah.
week. And
Especially such a precocious child,
exactly,
I imagine.
yeah. Soccer, Gaelic football,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. Athletics.
And
So I
you
think
think
I
that's
set,
where it came from?
I set the scene, for my
Really?
metabolism. I think so.
Now I think you're just blessed in your genes.
It's never just that. But you know what? That the Pilates surely eventually has to burn enough calories that it makes a difference.
So far, not. About 5 months, 4 to 5 times a week.
Really?
And I look like
Even-
Harvey Firestein.
Who's Harvey Firestein?
Don't worry about it.
Is he like, I feel I'm like the only one in the room who doesn't know who Fire. Is he like a sort of like Avatar Harvey Weinstein or what?
No, he's a good guy.
All right, yeah. He's just got an unfortunate
He's
name.
a sort of flamboyantly gay actor from the 1990s, kind of New York.
All right. So wait, was he fat or skinny? What was he saying? He was.
He's just doesn't have a Sheehan-esque body.
But have you noticed any? Oh, hello, around the waist.
Sometimes I notice that my face looks gaunt in a way that I don't like. So I only get the negatives from exercise.
But what way you don't like? What kind of way?
If it starts to look like I'm sort of dying.
Yeah, but like, hang on a minute. On the one hand, you're complaining about not looking any more svelte
Yeah.
from all the Pilates, and on the other hand, you're like, oh, I look like Skeletor in the mirror, and you don't like that. So what are you aiming
it's
for?
the worst of both worlds.
That should be the name of this talk show. The worst of both worlds. With Tom Henry.
But at least I get to go and suffer for an hour a day.
Yeah.
You and I did Pilates in our London apartment together.
We did.
Two or three days.
I was shirtless, as I believe, wasn't I?
You were. That's part of where my anger comes from.
Do you know what? I'll say one thing, right?
Okay.
We did our little writing trip in Ireland.
We did.
In rural Ireland, where I live.
Around where you live.
And we did one in London, in
Yes.
quite an affluent, posh area. Let's just name it Hampstead.
Hampstead Heath.
In London.
Yeah.
And we got so much more creativity and engagement out of the considerably fewer people around rural Ireland than we did in the densely populated city of London. And I mean, like, putting ourselves out there available for it.
Yeah.
Because, and it's just, I suppose, telling of how population density affects how we relate to one another. And that's what's very interesting. It was an interesting experiment which really highlighted that.
Ireland is also kind of a magical place. And England is not.
It is. It is a magical place. It's stunning.
It
England.
can be,
It's
but you know,
amazing.
the people are a little...
Yeah, they are, yeah.
They're like me. The Canadians came from the English.
Yeah,
So
especially the Ontarians.
We're all horrible.
Yeah, you are. It's true.
But you guys are all very poetic and so, you know. And I resent that too.
It's not true, mate. It's not true.
Well, I was going to
Irish
say,
people
actually,
are
I was going to bring up that it is.
yob donkeys.
I was going to bring up that it isn't true.
All right, nice one. Brilliant.
Well, you did
You
first.
pipped me to the post then.
Well, I was going to say, you know, I think maybe the gift of the gab,
Yeah, well, there's no shortage of that, yeah.
it's a little overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a line in my other book that goes, growing up, like a lot of Irish people, I often confused volume with charm.
There you go.
And there's a lot of that in Ireland, yeah. You know?
But there are some good ones. But
There's
it's like
some
anywhere.
great ones.
Good,
yeah, it is.
bad,
It is like anywhere. but it's just-
annoying. They bother you for a while.
Yeah.
Or you want to hear their story.
Yeah, yeah. Not as forthcoming with their talents, and then it's very forthcoming with what they're good at. But that was what was interesting about down the middle of nowhere in Ireland was just, I think it has less to do with, you know, one country over another and whatever that inward-looking thing is. Excuse me, and more to do with just the sheer volume of people, you know. Because when you're going out of a day, you leave your house, you just have to close yourself off because there's just too many avenues of possibility, and too many means there's just not at all.
Now, I mean, this is kind of just like, this is a wonderful chat, but I wanted to try one of these famous segments that I do.
Go on. I've heard of these. These are more infamous than famous.
Yes. Well, this one in particular.
Go on.
This one, by all accounts, doesn't work.
We'll see about that.
So this is called a random Wikipedia article.
Right, I'm impressed so far.
So on Wikipedia, I don't know if you know this, there's an option for a completely random, I'm assuming out of their billions of articles, article.
Cool.
I'm going to...
That is cool, though.
It is, right?
Yeah. That's a good... Go on, sorry.
It's a good segment.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click that. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to read you the first paragraph of that article.
All right, you haven't even clicked it yet.
No, and we're going to have to talk about that.
Oh, God.
This is proof. I wouldn't fudge this.
Yeah.
Random.
What if my name
So-
came up? Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Well, it is a name.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's named as... One of us better know it or else we're clicking on again.
And there's very little information about this one.
Oh, Christ.
This article of Wikipedia is just Adiang. Adeang. Adiang.
Does it say what it is?
Adiang, I'm going to call it, is a surname. Notable people with the surname include David Adiang,
Oh, yeah, David, yeah.
born 1969,
David, yeah.
Nauruan politician.
Who politician?
Nauruan.
I don't even know where that is, let alone who David Adiang is. Adiang.
Well, this is kind of the danger of the segment. The other person...
You're right, it is like a high wire walk.
The other person, they list Kenan Adiang,
Oh yeah.
1942 to 2011.
Did they know each other? Or?
He didn't make. I'm guessing they're relatives. Nauruan politician as well.
Oh, they were both Nauruan.
So
Bit of
David
nepotism going on.
Adiang and Kenan Adiang, both Nauruan politicians. One of them older and dead. The other born in 1969.
Still alive.
We don't know. I mean, if he died, would they update it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Would
so
they? I don't know.
So what do you have to say about this?
I'll tell you what I have to say about this.
Yeah.
I don't even know where the fuck Naurua
No,
is,
neither do I.
let alone David Adiang or Kenan Adiang.
This is a really tricky one. So
This is tricky, mate.
so Nauruan. So that's Nauruan. Nauruan.
N-A-U.
So are we
R-U.
to assume that there's a country somewhere called Naurua
Or a people.
or a people called the Nauruans? And how ignorant do we look?
Well, like, you know what I
Not
mean?
that
We're only
ignorant.
like,
I mean, there's so many
you
peoples in
can't
the world.
know everyone in
Right.
the whole world, can you?
And,
you know?
and I'm
Go
going to
on.
say, I think both of us wish the best for the Nauruans.
Yeah. We hope you're doing all right, Nauruans.
Now, there's a slim chance the Nauruans are horrible, evil
Horrible,
people.
awful people.
And we just
And Kenan
endorse
Nauruan, Kenan Adiang
Wow.
is the worst of them.
Kenan was the most vile politician
Yeah.
who ruled over the Nauruans
With an
And-
iron fist.
and wouldn't let the ring go to Mordor.
And he sold all of the Nauruans' mining gold
Oh my goodness.
to Apple. And it's after Kenan Nauruan
Kenan
Adiang's
Adiang.
father was assassinated. There was
Kenan
huge
is
suspicion
I think Kenan is the father.
on Kenan or David
David's the son.
for having been the one to have arranged his
Oh.
father's assassination.
So David took over
yeah, he did.
the Nauruan empire
He took it over, mate.
by
yeah, from his
assassinating
own dad.
his father Kenan.
Yeah. Actually, do you know what? Check this out, right? This
Yeah.
is a true story. King Philip.
Thank God you have something here.
King Philip was Alexander the Great's father, right?
Okay.
And he was a fascinating dude. He was a guy who came up with all these new military techniques, essentially, to invade people and kick loads of arses around Macedonia, right? But there was this big live event, big massive live event, and King Philip was about to invade Asia, right? Imagine, with in charge of the Greeks.
The whole continent.
Yeah, like he was about to just head off into the Middle East, right?
And if you've
We
ever
call it-
played Risk, you know
I
that's
know.
no small feat.
It's risky. And he'd just come back from a war and he'd fucked up his eye and he'd fucked up his leg. He was limping and all this, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, there's this big event, huge event. And they were all there. Young Alexander was probably 19 years old, right? And at one point, for whatever reason, on stage, Philip's young gay lover appears on the stage, right?
It was
And-
quite common in that.
yeah. And he's meant to be there, right? So it's no surprise he's on the stage. And then all of a sudden, he pulls out a dagger and stabs Philip to death.
You're kidding.
And this was after Philip had just taken over that region, taken over, essentially conquered Greece, come up with this new federation to control all of the Greek city-states and everything, right? And then everybody watches as he's stabbed to death by his young gay lover.
And
Isn't
we're
that
quite
amazing?
sure that's what David did to Kenan.
That's what David did to Kenan, mate.
He had watched the Alexander technique.
The Alexander technique.
And
Alexander didn't do it. He didn't do it. He had nothing to do with it. It just happened, mate. It was just one day. Imagine watching your dad being murdered by his 18-year-old gay lover. I mean,
I don't have to imagine it. It happened.
happened to you as well.
It happened to me. It's quite common in these parts.
You
So
probably-
that was a wonderful segment of Random Wikipedia. The article, once again, the surname Adiang. And
Oh,
if
yeah,
there
the
are any
surnames,
Adiangs in the audience,
listening, yeah.
write us a...
do write us a letter
Now,
from Naurua.
we had a very interesting, a really fun interchange in the green room before this.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Let's take a little look at that. Rob! It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Stop.
No, this really means so much to us. This is going to do a lot for us. Thank you so much. Look, we're getting everybody who's on the show to sign a headshot just for the show. Do you mind?
Why the fuck not?
We're just going to put them up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right across my cleavage. There you go.
That is perfect.
Look at that. Ta-da!
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you when we're on camera, huh? All right.
Sounds good. Where'd you get all the cash?
Don't you mind your own fucking business, Irish boy?
Bit rude.
That was an interesting little...
Bit rude, but you know.
Well,
Let's move on.
let's move on. So, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
I was going to ask you,
nothing.
actually, I was going to see, I was going to see as a sort of a segment, I was going to see if you would dare to say anything bad about a famous person you've met.
Oh.
Think about it.
Let me think about that.
Are you willing to sell one person down the
Probably.
river?
If I can think of a memory, let me think of memories.
While you
the
think,
spot.
yeah, I'll
Yeah,
just
you do a joke or two.
I'll just do my monologue jokes again.
Yeah. Apparently, which president, nearly elected president? Mitt Romney? I might be
Yeah.
getting this one wrong.
Mitt
But
Romney's
his father was
from the LDS Church.
Yeah, he was a polygamist Mormon who, when they outlawed the polygamy, he was so incensed with that among his other fellow male Mormons that he moved, him and all of them moved with their many, many wives down to a compound in Mexico.
Well, can you blame them, really?
Well, what happened with the other Mormons who decided, you know what, you're right, church, I now have to get rid of 6 of the 7 of my wives. Imagine that selection process.
You pick your favorite one, you move on. Yeah, it's like The Bachelor.
Look, we all know it's Mindy, right? The rest of you can get out. Do you know what I mean? How did that go?
Well,
I wonder.
I was shown a picture of the, there's some show about Mormons. What is this one? The Sister Wives. And the guy, he's about 7 wives. And...
Are they sisters?
No, they're called Sister Wives. Because I guess they're sisters through being wives.
That's weird. You don't
The whole thing's weird, Rob.
Yeah,
There's 7 wives.
I suppose it's their way to get through it.
Now, I'm no chauvinist.
Well,
But I would describe these women as excessively plain.
oh dear.
So, picking the one probably wasn't too hard.
Dear. So, but how, if they're all plain,
Oh, dear is right.
so if they're all plain, it'd be very hard to pick one because none of them have any characteristics.
Well, maybe one of them kind of shines a little.
Yeah, one of them's very good at jigsaws. But yeah, no, I don't know.
Where were you going?
I was going like,
Well, the Mitt Romney thing. By the way, how did they name this guy?
how did they what?
How did they name this guy Mitt?
Yeah, Mitt, Mitt. But was
Was
that
it
like
in
a sort
honor
of
of
a pet name?
No, I think it's his real name.
Call him
Was it in honor of
his favorite wife. The one who
Mitt.
encouraged him to run for
What
president.
kind of name is Mitt?
I don't know.
What's next?
It's like
Glove?
my name.
What's next? Glove Romney?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Should have a little drum, ba-dum-pum, ready to go whenever you drop one of them.
I'll add them in.
But maybe Mitt and his dad and all them are still down the compound in Mexico.
And I think actually his name might be Mitt Senior.
Is it? Well, there you
think
go.
it might
That's where
be.
the name came from. But do you know what? Kermit's a name. Hermit is a name.
I don't think Hermit's a name. Kermit.
Oh yeah,
but you're right
Hermit
about
is a word.
Kermit's there's only
He's a frog.
It's only a frog.
But where did his name come from before he was a frog?
Maybe Mitt Senior.
Maybe
Kermit Sr.
The Romneys are
Kermit Romney
Kermits.
Sr. So you're saying, you're breaking right now, breaking the news.
Yeah, that Kermit
The
the Frog.
Muppets, the Kermit the Frog was named after Mitt Romney Sr.,
Yeah,
the Mormonist
yeah. And
polygamist
the
from
Muppet Show is this whole analogy for polygamous Mormons. Although it's
be.
not, because Kermit refuses the
faithful.
advances of Miss Piggy.
I think he's married to Miss Piggy. But he doesn't
but
like
they ever
to.
get together? It's more of a will they, won't they situation, isn't it?
I think they're married. But he doesn't. But he's still.
He's still
you
quite
might
frigid.
be right. You know what? You might be right.
Yeah, because after the marriage vows, Kermit, you've got to put out, son.
See, I'm thinking of Muppets Christmas Carol, where they are married. But in the show, they might not be.
You're testing my knowledge now, mate.
But if they are married, but he just sort of doesn't want to
He's just
put
a bit
out.
frigid.
It's sort of an Al Bundy situation.
It's like, oh, why? He hates his wife.
Al Bundy was from a show, Married with Children.
Yeah, I remember that show. We got that show in Ireland.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about, this gift of the... Everybody has gift of the gab, but you're watching Married with Children.
Yeah, mate. Especially the Americans. You can't shut them
think that's
fuckers up.
damning
They're just
to-
twice as loud.
I think it's really damning to the gift of the gab and the Irish culture in general that you'd watch Married with Children. I
think,
never wanted to look at it.
I think you expect too much of us.
I hold you at a very high standard and
Hold up to a
want to
good
insult
writer's
you.
room.
Now, Al Bundy had a beautiful wife, Peg.
Was she that beautiful though, mate?
Yeah.
She looked a bit weird.
Gorgeous.
She looked like she got her hair done in one of them giant hair salon helmets.
She had funny hair,
Yeah.
but she was gorgeous.
She had good legs.
And she was a kind, good woman
But she was annoying, wasn't she?
to him.
But was she supposed to be annoying to us, the audience? Or were we supposed
I
to be...
think we were supposed
whose
to
side
relate
were we
to
supposed
I
to
think
be
we were
on?
supposed to relate to him back then. To just an annoying woman trying to sleep with you all the time and you hate it.
God. That's not...
You
know,
just want to sit on your couch with your hand down your pants and watch television.
watch other sitcoms about ungrateful men who have wives who are too good for them.
Oh, it's
Like the
an endless
Flintstones.
loop.
Yeah.
The Flintstones might have been
The
like that.
Simpsons. It's a weirdly chauvinistic view, that whole realm of sitcoms. You know, where there's an overweight husband who doesn't deserve the woman. She's out of his league.
Yeah.
And she's sort of subservient to him in terms of the time on screen and everything else. And he gets to sort of act out childishly and she cleans up the mess, you know.
That's why we love it. It's a fantasy.
We, the men folk,
Yeah.
we love it.
It's a fantasy to just
Yeah, it is. It is
just
like
want
that.
to do nothing.
And the most extreme version was King of Queens, starring Kevin James. You're like, come on, mate. You'd never get her. You've got a problem. You look like a fucking air balloon. No offense.
You've got a problem.
Yeah. Well, he did during that time. I mean, maybe he's lost
You've
a bit of
got
weight
problem.
now.
He has actually. I think he does MMA now.
Is that like MDMA? It's quite slimming, I hear. I know, fair play, Kevin James. It must be difficult to drop all that weight.
He's really fit now, and he's
Yeah, I'm sure he makes fun of his own weight, which means we can.
well, sure.
You know, I have anorexia, it turns out.
If you have no fat on your body, it's really frustrating.
It's because I puke up all my meals afterwards. It's a great tip, everyone, if you're looking to lose those pounds.
We can't run that.
I was joking.
There you go. You're out of it.
If you didn't already realize that.
You're out of it. You can still book the guest role on Grey's Anatomy season 40.
Or the patient role.
Yeah, that's what the guest is. You die at the end.
Yeah.
And your character has bulimia.
Yeah. I once did one of those on an Irish version of Grey's Anatomy, although it predated Grey's Anatomy. It was called The Clinic. And I was a fella.
Would your character have potato poisoning?
God, you're better than that, Thomas.
Jameson? Alcohol poisoning?
Actually, it wasn't far off because it was diabetes. So
That's kind of potato
yeah, it
poisoning.
was pretty close. I'm like a young surfer who wants to become a professional surfer, but then can't inject himself. He's scared of needles and everything, and they're trying to talk him out of it.
Right.
you know, and say like, what do you expect? You know, different time zones, you know, you're gonna have to inject yourself. You have to get on with it, son. And then for some reason, I can't remember why, I faint in the lobby.
Because you haven't been taking your own needles.
That was it. Yeah, that was the reason. Yeah. And actually, here's I'll slag one actor off, right? There's a brilliant Irish actress called Aisling O'Sullivan, and she played like, you know, the chief doctor of the clinic. And there was one bit where I'm like passed out, and they all rush over to my aid. And there was one bit where she had to look straight down the barrel of the lens and say like, "Oh, get me 50 milligrams of insulin, stat," you know. But just the sheer having to look down the lens made her laugh, right? But it made her laugh so much that I was lying on that floor for about 2 to 3 hours.
No.
Trying to do the scene where it's just trying to get her to do the line without
she couldn't stop laughing
with
about
a straight
it.
face.
And this was her job. She's been doing this for a while.
It's her actual job. But it was like, just because she had to look down the lens, it made her feel silly. And
look down the lens.
Yeah.
So she's staring at the audience at home?
yeah. Yeah.
This is a weird medical show you were on. And that the big story was a guy who couldn't take his insulin needle.
I wasn't even the big story. I was just a secondary
You were the
little
B-plot.
star. I was
You were
like
the B-plot.
filler.
Yeah.
I was filler.
What was wrong with the other guy? He was couldn't swallow a pill.
Yeah. He wouldn't sit still while they're trying to amputate his leg. They're like, just relax.
And now let's
have
look at
another
this
shot of brandy.
surfer who can't take a needle.
Yeah.
And then let's have the main character stare straight at the camera.
Yeah.
When will this boy take his needle?
When was it like the what's the word, you know, the other shot, this shot on the other side, you know, so who is she looking at?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Like Peep Show, you know, where
it's very strange.
Someone else must have had to look down the lens.
You're never watching ER and somebody looks right at you. This is some Irish. I think the Irish, they might not get the medical drama.
The whole sound design changes. It just dies away. It just...
Noah
Wiley just looks straight at you.
And they say,
you know,
what am I going to do about this boy who won't take insulin?
Yeah. What would you do?
What would you do?
Maybe it was because of the panic of the scene, you know, that they were trying to create a sense of disorientation.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's find that episode. You should cut that bit in with the talk show.
I would love to find it.
It's findable. It must be.
They would probably never give us the rights, but they would probably also never know.
Yeah. They would never know. RTE would never know. Sorry, RTE.
RTE.
They don't make these checks.
We got to go fix Irish TV.
It'll take you a while, mate. All right.
It sounds like they got some issues over there.
Listen, this show, it's not going to be an inquiry. Do you know what I mean?
Listen.
This show isn't broadcast to millions yet.
Listen.
Go on.
It will be to millions. Canadian TV is also very bad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, there are a number of shows on that they call comedies.
Yeah.
They're about as good as a car commercial.
Are you willing to name names?
Yeah.
Go on.
I can't actually.
Future writing jobs. Did you see him go?
Oh, they're not hiring me anyway to write. But one day I'll name names once I'm, impenetrable. Now,
don't say that, mate. That's worse than naming names.
What could I name? Yeah, there's a lot of. I'll say this. Basically, any Canadian TV show.
There's no good one. Name one good one, and then we know that the rest are shit.
So, right now or over time?
Either or.
Over time, there's been some good ones. There's Kids in the Hall, famous.
Yeah, that was a while ago, though, wasn't it, mate?
It was about 40 years ago.
Yeah,
and some of those guys now, a little creepy.
Oh yeah, you got Me Too'd by a few of them.
Well, they're all lucky they haven't been Me Too'd. There are some really nice ones.
Judge Yee.
There's 5 of them. Some of them are quite nice.
Oh, there's 5 of the writers.
No, the kids in the hall.
Having never seen that show, I'll be honest.
It's a big deal here. It's a big deal here. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one show. I'm trying to think of a Canadian television show that I've. Trailer Park Boys is good.
Trailer Park Boys was very good.
They're great crack.
And by crack, we should say is an Irish word.
For crack
For
cocaine.
fun.
Fun, yeah.
Fun with crack cocaine. So you had told me that you actually prepared a segment for me.
Oh yeah, that's true, Thomas.
Would you like to get into that or not?
Yeah, it's a yes/no. It's like
Love that.
yes/no questions.
It might not
quick
be.
fire.
We'll see if it's interesting, but yeah, let's try that.
See if it's interesting. Exactly. You know, it's like just whatever comes to mind first, either yes or no.
Okay.
Right? You ready?
And
for
is this to try to kind of trap me in something, or
No.
Okay. Are you going
Not
to
at all.
name all the kids in the hall and ask me which one is
Not if I had
a lecherous man?
if I had a million years and no internet connection, I'd be guessing about their names, right? So this is the Tom Talk Show interview yes/no question segment, right?
Here we go.
First question: would you feel criminal, Tom, asking someone for the time in public?
No, why would I?
Just keep it to
no.
yes or no.
No.
Would you feel like a criminal asking a stranger in public to use their phone, say?
No.
Would it make you feel awkward if someone asked you for your phone, say, right, to take a picture because their phone's battery was dead and then they're asking, like, to send it to them later on?
Yes.
Under the right circumstances, Tom, do you think you could kill?
Yes.
Have you ever been tempted to be the first talk show host who takes a vow of silence?
Yeah, sure.
What's your earliest memory?
You said yes or no, right?
Yeah. Which one of the other one?
No.
Out of which of these two, who would you choose, a giraffe or a butterfly?
Yes.
Was it a when or who or why that made you get into comedy? Tell us about it.
No.
So that was the end of the Tom Talk Show yes/no segment. So
I loved that.
It's all right, wasn't it?
It was really creative, interesting, artistic.
Thanks. I worked on that all week. Anyway, so it's been a pleasure. It really has.
You've got to go?
Yeah. I've got other talk shows to do tonight.
Who are you doing?
Jay Leno I'm doing. I'm doing Letterman.
Jay's going on before me at 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're filming it after. It's going on before.
Yeah.
Letterman. Carson I'm doing.
Carson, back from the dead.
I'm doing Jimmy Kimmeloid.
Kimmeloid.
Mm-hmm.
Is that different?
Jimmy Kimmeloids.
Is that different from Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Fallnuts.
Why are they all named Jimmy, do you think?
I don't know, because I think it's a way of infantilizing the American public. Because
to expose them to Jimmys.
Yeah, because Jimmy is a child's name in America.
Really?
It's to all keep them spellbound and in a continual state of childhood so as to control them en masse.
Oh my goodness. Now this will be good with the manosphere.
What's the manosphere?
The manosphere is a sort of a collection of podcasts of guys who are very sort of telling men how to live.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to get in.
Yeah, you're trying to get in on that.
Yeah, because it's big business. It's big money.
You should do a kind of a Tom's final parting thoughts like Jerry Springer.
And tell the men how to live?
Tell men how to live. Like Jordan Peterson.
How do you? Well, he's part of the manosphere. Of
course
he's probably kind of the king of the manosphere.
He's the sort of demigod of the manosphere. Make your bed in the morning. Fuck off.
I do think you should make your bed in the morning.
Yeah, I do make my bed in fairness, but not because of you, Jordan Peterson. It's because I want to make.
That's one of his less interesting opinions. He has a lot of opinions about. Did you know about his all meat diet?
Yeah, but you know that does suit some people.
Have you tried it?
No, I have not. No. Because I just know in the depths of my primal being that is not the diet for me.
Did you know that he drank?
Sometimes you can know these things in advance.
Did you know that he drank a cider, and it took him out for about 4 months?
Well, perhaps that's evolution's way of saying, Jordan, we've had enough of your opinions now and your manosphere.
Well, what do you think? Maybe that's it.
Yeah. It's a shame to end on a political note. But men of the world, don't worry about the genitals that formed on the outside of your body. Figure out who you are. It's got nothing to do with your gender, even though all the genderness has been put to the forthright, to the front of the conversation in order to confuse you from the, what you really are, which is a sort of an awareness fundamentally experiencing sensations and ideations, as old Fred Freud would call it.
Fred Freud.
So you have genitals. You are not genitals. Get on with it.
Well, that's a very positive note to end on.
God bless you
And I
all.
would say-
All of you with genitals, and even you without genitals. I love you as well. And I mean in a carnal way. And if I see you one day, I'll run up and I'll hump the leg off you.
And with that,
Go on. Wrap it up, Tom.
we thank you. We thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week.
You're not going to get any advertisers on this. I tell you.